Alright folks, welcome to another beer review. This was yet another beer that I had intended to keep aside to have an excuse to do a live stream as part of the Bitter End series, but just fancied having a drink in it, so I thought I'd do a review. So we're going over to Sureshot once again, and this is a collaboration with John Keeling. And this is Leave the Capital, which is an extra special bitter, clocking in at 7% ABV. So I think this is the highest ABV bitter that I've had. And some may say, is it really a bitter? We'll find out. Which is why I was going to keep hold of it so I could, I'm itching my stomach. I wouldn't do that on camera. Yeah, I was going to put this against maybe a couple of other bitters or slightly higher ABV than normal bitters, but hey ho, it is what it is. So the artwork on this is quite interesting. Central London, 6, Birmingham, 119, Manchester, 205. I'd imagine that's in relation to miles from a specific location, or is there I don't know, is that a reference to a lyric from Leave the Capital by The Fall? I don't know. But yeah, 7%, extra special bitter brewed in collaboration with John Keeling, rich multitones of biscuit, toffee and molasses, subtly spiced with US and UK hops for the second city, whichever it may be. Quite a few references have gone way over my head with that, but we shall see. So I had a really nice lager from Sureshot and an absolutely amazing double IPA that they brewed with Verdant. And yeah, I'm sure they did a proper ABV bitter in this past year. And I was really intrigued by that because I really want to see how a brewery like that, they're new, fresh, pretty much known for their hazy beers. I wanted to see how they did a bitter, and yeah, we've got that, but it's a bitter with a bitter difference. Just getting the bubbles off the side of the glass because it's rather dirty. So look at that, looks absolutely wonderful. Ready, nutty, just a nice, deep, dark, intense looking bitter, really, with about half a finger, 2/3 of a finger of a slightly off-white head. So it's certainly looking the part. Let's see what we get on the nose. Ooh. Yeah, it is definitely cakey and sweet. There's maybe a little, I'm not sure what American hop or hops they would have used, but it's got slightly a piney character to it. I'm no expert on hops, so it's pointless me picking out or trying to detect what hops are in a beer. But it's not hoppy. It is more along the lines of that sort of sweet, sticky, syrupy malt character. And spiced biscuits as well. Jamaica cake. Maybe a hint of Jamaica cake in there. With some golden line syrup poured on top. Always reminds me of having me Sunday or Saturday tea, dinner, lunch, Sunday dinner. Not always, it wasn't always a roast dinner, but it reminds me that's what we always seem to have for pudding, dessert, whatever you call it in your part of the country. Of course, whatever your social class dictates how you reference specific meals of the day. You know, we're all pink inside. You know, we don't all have to. What the hell am I talking about? I'm trying to make a quasi pseudo wanky political sort of statement, but Hey, it is what it is. I don't do social commentary. But Matt Hancock's in the jungle, so maybe he'll contract something. You know, like empathy. Anyway, I digress. There's like sort of like a herbal earthiness to it as well, which I'd imagine is coming from the UK hops. Again, wouldn't be able to tell you what hops they are. But let's just drink it. Cheers. It's only 7%, but fucking hell, it's almost got like an essence of booziness to it. It almost reminds me of those like Eastern European lagers, which are slightly higher ABV than normal, but you feel the potency of the ABV. Does get like almost harsh towards like the mid part of the drinking experience. It's not as sweet as the nose would lead you to believe. It's more like, there's like genuinely like a dank, resiny character to it, which is really odd, but it works within those familiar flavours that you get from a bitter. But is it a bitter though? I don't know. Because there's almost like a little bit of a classic English strong ale element, and like the malt profile quite reminiscent of an English barley wine. I mean, I'm going to say you could easily get away with labelling this a barley wine. I really, really think you can. I don't know if I like it or not. Whatever the actual beer is, it's well brewed, but there's just some flavours and elements to it which just don't work for me, don't sit right with me. Because I'm drinking it now as if it's a slightly lower ABV barley wine. That's what it reminds me of. It's got the hints of the flavours of a bitter that you would expect. That sort of like nutty fruitiness, the treacle, the cakiness almost. But again, those flavours you sometimes get in like a barley wine as well, especially one that's more on the sweeter side of things. There's definitely an earthy, grainy, herbal element to it also. And I know I don't like talking about other breweries when I'm reviewing a different brewery's beer. But, and completely different styles. So take whatever point I'm going to clumsily make with a pinch of salt. But like when Boxcar did their like double mild and triple mild, you know, it caused a discussion like, is it really this? Is it really, do you know what I mean? X, Y, Z. Is that a pronoun, by the way? Is that like a gender pronoun, X, Y, Z? But at least with like that sort of beer, it still felt and tasted like a good, classic, hearty mild. This, the more I'm drinking it, the less and less I'm getting of an an ESB, an extra special bitter. And I'm sure there are beers of this ABV within the bitter sort of umbrella. A bitter umbrella. I mean, it's an enjoyable drink, but it has got a bit of potency to it. It does feel higher than a 7% beer. And it sort of like lingers on your breath like a boozy sort of beer would do. A little bit of a bolder mouthfeel than probably a lot of, bitters that are around, the 3 to 5%. But yeah, it's a weird one. Tasty. Really, really is. It tastes like something that would have been brewed in like the 1800s. There's like a real sort of like crude yet robustness to it. Don't think I'd rush out to get another can of it, although I would like to see or taste Sureshot when they do it like a modest sort of bitter that's more along the lines of like what traditionally you would expect within the style. Excuse me, disgusting. But I do praise them for doing something a little bit different. It's just, for me, not the biggest fan, but it's not awful. It's not a badly brewed beer by any stretch. It's just, I don't know, does it work? Does it know what it is? Is this what they intended the beer to come out like? I've not seen anyone else's reviews on this, not looked at it on Untapped. When I'm like uploading the video and putting all the information in the video description, I'll probably have a cycle through what people have said about this beer. But yeah, it's interesting. It's one of those ones where I always say you should try every beer. When I review a beer, even if I think it's god-awful, toxic rat piss. Are we talking about Facebook? Topical, although people are going on about Twitter nowadays, aren't they? Elon. But yeah, even if like I'm drinking a beer and I think it's the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth, make your own jokes. Go ahead. I'd still say give it a try because you might like it. And I think there's a good amount of people who drink this and actually really, really enjoy it a lot more than I have. And have I got stuff on my t-shirt? It's my day off, so I'm pretty much wearing yesterday's clothes because I'm a scruff bag. But yeah, it's Leave the Capital, Fall Song, Marquis Smith. If you're going for like a sort of meta sort of approach to brewing, I think Sureshot have brewed a beer version of Marquis Smith. Yeah, it makes sense. If Marquis Smith was a beer, then I think this might be that beer. I'd like to see them do like a series of this, and the next beer being Industrial Estate. What could that be? What could they make? Or Live at the Witch Trials. That would have been a good Marquis Smith Halloween themed beer. What else could you do? Eat Yourself Fitter, like a smoothie gozer. I'm terrible at interactions in the comments, but if you can think of like a witty Marquis Smith inspired beer along with a name, then let me know in your comments, in your own comments. Put it in your own comments on your own videos if you create content on YouTube. Is this really content, or is this just like the drivel that's on TikTok? which we all know is a psyop by China to really promote how stupid and docile the West is. Because let's face it, the biggest videos on TikTok produced by the West are devoid of any intellectual importance. Just stupid gangs of blokes dancing together, scantily clad women just jumping up and down, people miming memes. Whereas like in other countries, it's been used as a tool to get the younger generation into like engineering and stuff like that. And what do we do here in the UK? We get our most docile, fucking redundant social media influencers and just let them loose. There is some good stuff on TikTok. I personally don't have TikTok. I don't have Snapchat because I'm not a horny 14-year-old who just wants to send photos of his dick to every single girl that he's interested in. I'm not on Telegram because I don't want to buy, although I do want to have some edibles, but Telegram's basically just for like the far right and people who sell drugs. That was my attempt at like a Stuart Lee style of comedy. Oh, Peter, you shouldn't say that, Peter. That was, yeah, just ignore it. People are making millions showing their fucking tits on TikTok. And I'm stood in a kitchen drinking beer, making an even bigger wank of myself than those docile nitwits. What, am I 50 years old now saying nitwit? I can't even pronounce the T's in nitwit because it sounds weird when you say nitwit. Oh, you nitwit. Just doesn't sound right, does it? Almost sounds like you should be saying it not properly or improper. Oh, lovely string of spit then on the glass. This video's got it all. It's got it all. So if you tried the beer, let me know your thoughts, opinions down below. Links to Sureshot, as well as Northern Beer Temple, the premises from which I acquired this alcoholic beverage. And yeah, if you want to listen to some music, just look for a discography playlist of the fall. There's probably going to be about 10 years worth of music there. I don't mean like in the career span sense, I mean literally in terms of how much music was made by the fall. There will be about 10 years worth of music. So how many albums did they do? I think they did a shit ton of Peel sessions, didn't they? I can't remember how many fall albums there are, but there's absolutely loads. Anyway, Manchester Brewery, paying homage to an absolute legend and icon from Manchester. Can we have some John Cooper Clarke related beers, please? Or can we have a Tony Wilson beer? Who else from Manchester can we have? Can we have like a massive Imperial Martin Hannett stout? Who knows? This is probably why I should never be involved in any sort of marketing decision ever, because I'm just a prick. But thank you for watching. You all take care. This is an awful video, but it'll still be uploaded. And yeah, cheers. Bye.